Welcome to day 2 of Make Money and Make a Difference. The secret niche. Discover the secret niche in real estate that is funding nonprofits by the billions. And if you are just joining us today, the second of 7 days, you'll want to make sure that you have this workbook. If you go to cammybaker.com/lab, LAB, and it has to be all lowercase letters, you can get the workbook so that you can follow along with me. If you don't have it, it's okay, but it'll be a lot easier if you have it with you so you can see what I'm talking about as I point down and look at it. So I just want to honor you for your time being here. I know that there's a lot of places we can be these days on different Zooms, and the fact that you're here tells me that whether you're in real estate or whether you have a nonprofit or not, you have the desire to make money and make a difference. You've gotten wind of this charitable real estate thing. How can people donate real estate to nonprofits and real estate agents get paid a full commission, and any nonprofit be able to benefit from the proceeds of these donations? How can the whole community come together and instead of doing a fundraiser, do a funding exercise where everybody can participate in letting folks know, look, our favorite nonprofit accepts charitable gifts of real estate. Just letting people know, because the deal is every day there are people that are calling our nonprofit friends and offering to donate real estate, and 99.99% of those nonprofits are saying no. There are 1.1 million nonprofits in this country, and literally less than a couple of dozen that we have found in the last many years actually take gifts of real estate. And there's a lot of great reasons for that. We're going to talk about some of those today. So yesterday we talked about list. So we're going through the 4 pillars: list, liquidate, leverage, leave legacy. Yesterday we talked about how the properties, when they're donated, the first thing we do is list them and give those real estate agents a full commission. And they don't have to compete. They are the listing agents. So feel free to go back and watch that video, knowing that these videos in this feed for this group come down on Tuesday at midnight, November 3rd, because look, time is of the essence. There are property owners that would donate property this month, next month, and December if they knew that they could, because there is a massive benefit to them to get that tax write-off in 2020. And there is no other way that they can get this kind of a tax benefit, a tax write-off in this year than the way that we're doing this. So let's get into the workbook. You'll notice on day 2, liquidation is hot. Fundraising is not. Just a little story. The reason why this group was created and this training was created is because with my 15-year history in real estate, doing HGTV house hunters, being in the top 5% of real estate and all of that, that's why I know what realtors need and want. I know they want a full commission. I know they don't want to compete. I know they want to be number one in their community, and I know they want to give back to nonprofits. Today, with the liquidating part, the other thing that I'm aware of is how difficult the fundraisers can be, because I have been a part of dozens, maybe hundreds of them at this point, of helping nonprofits to do fundraisers and helping real estate people and real estate companies to partner with the nonprofits to do a cause marketing or purpose leverage marketing campaign in their marketplace. I've supported these folks for years all around the country. So when we start talking about liquidating these properties and how these big ass checks can be handed over to fund them without the fundraisers, I personally, having been someone who has sat on committees and shown up weekly, bi-weekly, monthly, for months at a time to put together an event. I've been out asking for baskets to be donated. I've gone out and picked up tickets from this sporting place and uh, and sold tickets. And I mean, seriously, bake sales, barbecues, ballroom functions, even some begging that I've done to help my nonprofit friends. So to know that these properties are being donated every day, $8 billion worth a year, but that 99.99% of the nonprofits are not benefiting breaks my heart. So let's fix that. So in our workbook, the very first one, you'll notice there are blanks in the workbook, camibaker.com/lab, all lowercase to get your workbook. The blanks are so that you can fill them in and follow along. So number one, removes all risk from the nonprofits. Cami, how can you say that this removes all the risk? Because I mentioned it to one of my nonprofit friends, and they said they don't take real estate because they heard that another nonprofit took a piece of real estate 20 years and they almost went bankrupt. Or they said that in their docs, their regulations, they can't accept real estate. They said they don't have the funding, they don't have the manpower, they don't have XYZ, and they won't take real estate. I know. That's why you've never heard of it. And I had never heard of it, because at the end of the day, no matter how great the tax benefits are, no matter how much the real estate agent would love to get paid a full commission, etc., if you learn all of this, but the nonprofit doesn't accept gifts of real estate anyway, what was the point of learning it? But see, we have the secret sauce. We have the specialized nonprofit. We have a 501c3 whose sole purpose for existing is to eliminate this problem. When that property is donated, our 501c3 Realty Gift Fund, when Realty Gift Fund steps in, the donor who donates the property donates it to Realty Gift Fund, who in turn lists it with you, the real estate agent. And when it's liquidated, all the money goes to your nonprofit friends. So there is no risk to any nonprofit that you know, because they never touch title. They don't even need to know the address of the property. Now, tomorrow, I'm going to be talking about how to leverage, how to turn that one listing into 3 or 10 or 20 or 100. And each listing is a donation. And every donation, these aren't $25 raffle tickets. These are checks for $25,000 or $50,000 or $82,000 or $100,000 and more. So it would be really smart for the nonprofit that's going to benefit from these donations to know the address and to promote the bag out of it and let people know, hey, listen, when 123 Main Street sells, we already know that we're going to be getting a check for $200,000. So please send your buyers over there. Let people know. So in other words, even though they don't need to know the address, they would be smart to know the address and to help promote it and to help be a part of the media coverage of it, etc. But when we say that there's no risk, I want you to know that the reason there's no risk is because they don't handle the transaction. See, some of the properties that are donated are free and clear. Some of the properties are not. And when you get involved with the boot camp that we're doing next Tuesday, where we get into all the details of how these transactions go down, we'll be talking about what qualifies, what kind of property qualifies. Don't get too hung up on that right now, but suffice it to say that they don't have to be free and clear, and that the mortgage gets paid off by our 501c3, and the property donor can even get cash from the property. But the point is that the nonprofits that benefit from these transactions have zero risk. And please feel free to pop any questions over in the chat. Because my Facebook Live link didn't work and we are doing this straight on Zoom, I can't actually see your questions and answer them as we go along. So I see that Amy and Eric are with us. If you haven't gone to cammybaker.com/lab, and I'll just type that in for you, cammybaker.com/lab. You can get your workbook and follow along. Second bullet point, the nonprofit has nothing to do with the line is transaction. There is no out-of-pocket expense. They don't even need to know the address. So I know I got a little ahead of myself there, but when I talk about no out-of-pocket expense, see, one of the reasons that we as real estate agents have never heard of this is because nonprofits in general, 99% of them don't take gifts of real estate. So why would they have been teaching this in real estate state school? But here's a little spoiler alert. The boot camp that we're doing next week, which we'll be calling the certification soon, is going to be a CEU class in all of the states in the next 3 years. You have the unfair advantage to know about this now, because once this becomes a CEU class and all of the 2 million realtors learn about it, you won't have the unfair advantage, but you do now. So Amy, congratulations. You're already signed up for the boot camp, and I can't wait to teach you how to have the unfair advantage. So out-of-pocket expense. One of the reasons why nonprofits have historically said no thank you. Hey, Boys and Girls Club, Make-A-Wish Foundation, local cancer society, I have a piece of property I'd love to donate. And they say, wow, that's really nice of you. No, thank you. We don't take them. And one reason is because they don't have the funds to pay off mortgages or to fix the property up and put a roof on it if that's what it needs, or to hold the property for the next 90 or 180 days while it's on the market and being shown, et cetera, et cetera. Maybe it's a strip mall or a restaurant or an apartment building that has tenants. They don't have any way to manage all that kind of stuff. So they can't handle the out-of-pocket expenses, but we can. See, Realty Gift Fund, our 501c3 friends that are right in the middle that bridge the gap here, they have the funds to take care of all of that. That's why it's risk-free and your nonprofit has no out-of-pocket expense. Number 3, liquidation or proceeds. That first line, what you would want to write in there is liquidation or proceeds can go to multiple nonprofits. So one property that's donated, that the proceeds can go to as many nonprofits as that property donor wants them to go to. One of the questions I hear a lot is, who decides what nonprofits get the money? You know, just think through this logically. If you are writing a check in your checkbook to a nonprofit, who gets to write on that check where that money goes? You do. It's your check. You're the one that's making the donation. Well, it's the same thing for the property donor. They get to decide where the money goes. Now, if you love your church and you're looking to get donations for your church or your veterans group or your recycling nonprofit group, then it would be smart to let all of the followers and people who love that group and people who sit in that church every Sunday, to let them know that this is a thing and that they can work with you on it, because then the chances of your church or your veteran group, et cetera, getting the money is pretty high because these people already follow those groups. But the point is that one donation can go to many. Let's say there's a $300,000, and that's very common. As a matter of fact, the average donation from a charitable gift of real estate is $550,000. Not $50, not $500, $550,000. So if that donor wants to give $150 to the church and 150 to the local homeless shelter, and 25,000 to the domestic abuse center, et cetera, they can do that. And you can always ask them, hey, you know what? There's this other group that I participate in. What do you think about that? And 80% of the people who donate these properties do it for altruistic reasons, meaning they already know the nonprofit that they love. They already know who they want the money to go to. But 20% of the people do it because it's a really good estate planning strategy. It's great tax benefits. There was just about a month ago a property that was sold in Denver that donated over $300,000, which went to Fidelity Charitables. And Fidelity Charitables has what they call donor advised funds. And I don't want to get too technical, but my point is that 300,000 went into a donor advised fund, which means that once it was in that fund, they could divvy out grants, $1,000 here, 500 there, 5,000 over there, 20,000 over there. But it went in that fund because that particular donor didn't know who they wanted the money to go to. They didn't really care. They wanted the tax benefit. And there's a lot of reasons for that. And we'll be teaching you all of that in the boot camp. So, number 4, what nonprofits have you donated to over the last 24 months? And approximately how much have you donated, or the rest of that question? Or if you are a nonprofit, how many donors do you have and how much have you taken in the past 24 months? In other words, in our workbook, we are wanting you to get engaged with us here and to really think about this. So, who are the nonprofits that you have been supporting just in the last 24 months? How much money have you donated? You know, I ask my realtor friends, what do you do to support your nonprofits? And some of them will say, well, I give $100 at every closing to my client's choice, or I give 10% of my proceeds to my church, or 10% of my proceeds to the veterans group, et cetera, et cetera. Some people do a lot of volunteering, et cetera. So if you make $200,000 a year and you're giving 10% to domestic abuse shelter in your area, for example, that would be $20,000 that you gave per year. So maybe that's 40,000 that you've given in the last 24 months. And that is so, so generous. And imagine if you could give them 10 times that amount, not by taking it out of your pocket, but by actually putting money in your pocket, because you're getting paid a full commission as a real estate agent, and the proceeds of the property now go to those nonprofits. See, when you're selling a piece of real estate as a donation, now we're not looking at those $100 raffle tickets anymore. We're looking at big, big, big checks. So this question is simply to get our mind thinking, wow, I'm already really generous. I had 30 closings last year. I gave $100 per closing. So that's $3,000 that I gave. What if I gave 300,000 from one property? Like, that's why when I talk about legacy, like leaving a lasting, lucrative legacy can happen so quickly. Instead of 25, 30 years of donating $100 here and $1,000 there and 10% every year, which we can continue to do, this is just a whole different way of showing up. This is a whole different way of having influence and impact and generating income, frankly. So on our form, points to ponder. What would it look like to help my nonprofit friends take in even 10 times the amount of donations that I gave and get paid a full commission to do it? And some people are like, well, I don't want to learn this just to get paid a full commission. Well, look, you can give the full commission to your nonprofit too. Like if it's a $300,000 house and the 6% commission is $18,000 and your half of it's $9,000 and you don't feel right taking a commission to do the deal, then give them that money too. What I love about this This truly is make money and make a difference. It really is. You can't make money with charitable gifts of real estate unless the nonprofits are getting funded. And the nonprofits can't get funded unless you're getting paid a full commission to list and liquidate the properties. And if you are in an ancillary business, mortgage, title, home inspector, coffee shop, attorney, dog walker, network marketer, like all of those people have nonprofits they want to support. All of them need to meet human beings to build their business. In my book, Mingle to Millions, when you sign up for the boot camp, you'll get a copy of it. I'll autograph it and send it to you in the mail. I talk about the difference between networking and net webbing. Networking is you see the same archetypes over and over, whether you're physically going to networking events or doing it on Zoom. You see the same people, the ones that are spraying their card or even on a Zoom, wanting to send the link to their e-card, right? You don't know them, they don't know you. They just want to shove their contact information down your throat. They're spraying those cards or that contact information. They're spraying and praying as somebody will join their business or come and sign a contract with them. Those are the skunks because they're spraying and praying. Then there are the people that we meet that want your contact information. Hey, let me get your card. Hey, let me get your phone number. Hey, put in the chat your email address and your phone number. Let me get that information. They are grabbing the cards or the contact information and squirreling it away physically with the card in the pocket or in email because they want to put you on their boring email list and put you in their CRM system and get you on their boring newsletters. They're squirrels. They're squirreling it away, but they're not really interested in getting to know you and be friendly, be friends. And then there are the people, dun 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 dun. Hey, try my product, join my business, sign my contract. Those are the sharks. So if we don't want to be a skunk, a squirrel, or a shark, which is all very networky, and look, I've been all three in one night. Unfortunately, for years, I was known as the shark in real estate, going and getting those expired listings, you know. And I used to be very proud of that. But now I see that I was being a skunk and a squirrel and a shark and very salesy and pushy and icky. When I was able to shift into net webbing. So, net webbing means think about a spider. A spider finds their place, and as they are making connections, they're connecting these people, they're connecting that person for that speaking engagement. In other words, all these connections, a web is created, a net web. And see, a spider doesn't chase or hunt or assertively attack. They don't go after. They sit back and wait for what they want to come to them. So the reason I bring this up is when we're talking about charitable gifts of real estate, when we're talking about having a whole new conversation, whether you're physically walking into the Chamber of Commerce or you're showing up at the BNI meeting on Zoom or the Real Estate Association group on Zoom or what have you, there may be 8 or 10 other realtors in that engagement, but you have a different conversation. You can speak intelligently about charitable gifting of real estate. Now, people do want to have conversations with you. And my friends, whether they donate real estate or not, isn't it true that we need to be doing this and this and connecting and communicating and building resources and relationships? That's what leads to the revenue. So instead of networking, let's be net webbing. And charitable gifts of real estate is the best way that I have found to actually meet people without being pushy and sharky. So, home play and our workbook. Who are the first three people that come to mind that you know love to support the community? And there's three lines there. Why is that? Because here's the deal. None of this matters unless you are meeting and mingling and talking and engaging, right? So who are the three people? When you think about, see, charitable gifts of real estate, who do I know that loves a nonprofit, loves to help the community, loves to get engaged in community events? Who are those people? Write them down, because see, you can reach out to them. People will say to me, well, I don't know anyone who would donate real estate. Well, actually, the honest truth is you don't know because you've never asked them. Why would you? Why would you have ever asked anyone, hey, you want to donate a property to the church, to the veterans group? You never would have. So you don't know what they would or wouldn't do. But I'll tell you this, you do know somebody that would. And we know a lot of people that are. And we will teach you how to find them. It all starts with the boot camp. So let's talk about the boot camp for just a minute. This boot camp is November 4th. It's next Wednesday, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Eastern. It's a 3-hour live Zoom. And during the boot camp, we talk about why this benefits the realtor, the nonprofit, and the donor. We give you lots and lots of reasons why it benefits them. Let me just, oh, Heather's saying she loves my background. Thank you. Thank you. I just upgraded my background. I appreciate you saying so. Just looking at the comments. So in the boot camp, we talk about why it benefits all those folks. We talk about what is philanthropy and how did this get started in the US tax code, and what do you say to all of those people to start these conversations? What are the documents that are required outside of your typical listing contracts? Who are the people that would donate, and what would I say to them? What would I say to a nonprofit that I want to approach about this secret niche in real estate that's funding nonprofits by the billions? The boot camp is if you go to cammiebaker.com/bootcamp, you can see all the details of what I'm talking about. And that's where you also can secure your seat. And look, spoiler alert, it's $497, duh, big deal. And when you bring a deal to the table, we reimburse you anyway. And it was 90 days, but I was just talking with my partners today, and we're giving folks 120 days from the day you take the boot camp to bring a deal to the table. Doesn't have to close, but when the deal is in the queue, when the listing contract is signed, when it's ready to go in the next 120 days, then on the settlement statement, we give you the $497 back. In other words, we want to train you to be a specialist in charitable real estate. We want you talking to the nonprofits and bringing them these checks. I want to teach you after the boot camp how to leverage it. I'm just curious, Amy and Heather and Eric, do you guys have any interest in wanting to go speak, like physically or virtually, to your Rotary group, to your Lions Club, the Kiwanis Club, the Women's Networking Group, the Chamber of Commerce? Do you want to speak in front of your veteran group, your domestic abuse shelter? Do you want the boards that you sit on? Do you want to share with them about charitable gifting of real estate, or be seen and be heard and get that type of exposure? Because this is a way for you in the next 6 to 12 months to meet and mingle with high net worth people and folks that you never would have had a reason to pick up the phone or walk in their office or send them a message or friend them on Facebook or LinkedIn. But now you do. Now you do. This is an elevated conversation that I am just thrilled to teach people about, because when I was in real estate, I was paying $1,000 a month for 5 years in a row to work with the Mike Ferry organization to teach me how to prospect and how to door knock and how to call expireds and for sale by owners and how to handle objections and how to fight for my commission and how to negotiate and how to win over that agent and all of that stuff that we have traditionally been taught our whole career in real estate. And the good news about me going through all of that torture and torment is that I understand scripts. I understand personality styles. I understand body language and all that fun stuff. But I don't have to teach it so that you learn objection handling. See, when you're telling a story about another nonprofit that just received a check for $80,000, and you're talking to a nonprofit about how they could do the same thing, you're not learning how to handle objections anymore. You're just sharing with people. I apologize. You're just sharing with people that there's a new sheriff in town. And that sheriff would be you because you know how to do these deals for them. Let me just see. I'll interview you, and I will do that once my nonprofit is off and running. Your vibe is awesome today. Thank you, Heather. I so appreciate you saying that, because I actually spent an extremely, extremely spiritual, humbling weekend with a nonprofit that were so giving and so loving and nurturing and cared so much for those of us that were there, that they were supporting and helping with what we were doing, that I just have a whole new appreciation for my nonprofit friends. Like I really want to help you do the service that you're wanting to do, whether it's finding puppies on the street that have been thrown out in a box by some asshole, whether it's children that are being abused and deserve better, whether it's our veterans that fought so hard for our country that don't even have a place to lay their head at night, churches that believe so strongly in their spirituality and want others to feel that good. Like, this helps all of them, all of you, and my real estate friends get paid what they're worth. So I appreciate that you see that shift in my vibe and energy. So action steps. Engage in the Facebook group. So you're all here because you're part of the Real Agents of Change, which means you are an agent of change. Let's let people know. Go in the group and post in the group who your nonprofits are that you want to support. If you are a nonprofit, take the time to put your website and to let us know what $50,000 or $100,000 would do for your nonprofit. If you're a real estate agent, you sit on a board, or you know what? If you're a real estate agent and there's not even a nonprofit that you currently support, let us know. Look, I'm just a heart-centered, good realtor who wants to get paid what I'm worth. And if the proceeds from that closing can go to a nonprofit, that's even better. Make money and make a difference. Together, they're not exclusive. They can be done together at the same time. And I, for one, am thrilled to death about that. So please feel free to reach out. Let me see what she says here. Oh, Eric is asking me a question privately, so I'm going to read it out loud so everybody knows. So if I have my nonprofit and accepted a real estate donation, I can give the proceeds to whomever I want, or the previous owner gets to choose that. And could I set up a nonprofit that does nothing more than to accept real estate donations and then distribute the proceeds to whomever we wish. Well, Eric, you certainly could do that, but it's way more complicated than you might think. And we've already done that. So basically, we have a 501c3 that takes the donation of real estate. We, my partners, pay off the mortgage and give the owner, the previous owner, cash. So unless you have access to about $10 million to handle those types of transactions, it might not be a good idea. And unless you have extensive commercial real estate knowledge like these guys do, 30 years apiece times several, it wouldn't be a good idea to bother trying to do that. Just leverage our nonprofit and let the nonprofits that you know about it. Now, when it comes to, okay, well, great, then how does Eric make money? Eric's not a real estate agent. Eric's not even a nonprofit. So what is he doing here? There's lots of other ways to strategically leverage this. And I would need to talk to Eric more about what is it that you're doing. But for example, if you have a business that would do well by getting in front of realtors, it'd be really smart to learn how to leverage this and strategize it. If you want to become a fundraising consultant for nonprofits, I'll be teaching that over the next 12 to 18 months as well, how to leverage this as a fundraising activity, getting the nonprofits funded, as opposed to doing the big events and getting a band and doing a car show and a golf tournament. Don't have to do any of that. Let's just make a few phone calls and let people know that we accept charitable gifts of real estate. So I appreciate your enthusiasm, Eric, and it would require a little more strategy. I would need to know, what is your business? How do you make money? Who is your ideal client? And what are you passionate about? Because when I know those things, my brain gets the download from the universe as to how you can implement this. But all of those things are really important to find all of that out. So yeah, so that's what I have to say about that. Okay, guys, so I want to respect your time. That's the end of this call. Remember that tomorrow at 5 p.m., same bat time, same bat channel, hopefully on Facebook Live. If technology doesn't work, we'll be back on this Zoom link. We'll be talking about leverage. So now that we are listing property, now that we are liquidating property, now that we know how charitable real estate works, etc., how do we turn that one listing or that one donation into 3 or 10 or 20 or 100? How do we attract another nonprofit, 10 nonprofits, all the nonprofits in our marketplace to come to us as the charitable gifting specialist? How do we leverage the fact that we are less than a half of a percent of real estate agents or nonprofits that understand how this works? And how do we leverage that in our conversation so that we meet the right people, whether it's Eric with a different kind of business or the real estate agent? How do we get in front of the people, the high net worth people, the generous people, the lots and lots of property owners? And by the way, if you've never heard of RedX, REDX, theredx.com/affiliate/Cami, you can sign up with the RedX and save $150 if you use my affiliate link, because there's a setup fee. I think it's $150. But the RedX gets phone numbers, emails, and has texting capability for all property owners in this country. Now, do they have bad phone numbers? Are some of the email addresses not working? Well, yeah, it's just like any other service. It is what it is. But you can pull a whole neighborhood of where all the big multifamilies are, or the high net worth people are, et cetera, et cetera. And you could prospect to those folks, and you could reach out to them and let them know about charitable gifting of real estate, et cetera, et cetera. So my point is, tomorrow when we talk about leverage, back to the net web, the web thing, there's so many different ways to strategize. There's so many different specialties, including the fact that banks are going to be overrun with property. Very soon, the foreclosure process will start. The moratorium on foreclosures will be lifted, and banks all over the country are going to have a massive amount of foreclosed properties. What does that have to do with anything? Well, it's a specialty that I created around charitable gifting of real estate. And for the right realtor, that will be as big, actually bigger than being an REO specialist, because now there's cause marketing linked to it. Look up cause marketing. What is cause marketing? It's a way for us to market with a cause in our area, and those banks can do the same things. So I'll see you tomorrow at 5. Make sure that if this resonates with you, so Amy, if you, not if, because you know realtors all over the country, who do you know that's a realtor outside of your marketplace that would really, really benefit from taking full commission listings, from helping their church, from being the go-to expert in their area? I'll be getting some affiliate links lined up very soon that you can use for that. But if you invite somebody, just let me know, and I can always partner with you on that. So I will see you guys tomorrow at 5. And if you want to be a part of the boot camp, cammiebaker.com/bootcamp. And remember, the fee is reimbursable when you bring a deal within 120 days. And look, if you're not planning on bringing a deal within 120 days, don't do it anyway. What's the point? What's the point? We want go-getters. We want heart-centered people that are ready, willing, and able to take action and really make money and make a difference for their community and the world. See you tomorrow.